the antiviral strategy for going from 0 to 10,000 subscribers on social media. Hey, my name's Tim. I'm going to talk you through how I get thousands of leads and customers every month through social media. Specifically, I'll talk about short form platforms, so LinkedIn, X, Substack Notes. Why'd I pick these three? The bar is very high on video, so I didn't want to pick that. LinkedIn has over 1 billion users, X has over 700 million, and Substack Notes has more attention because it's new, and you probably know that. So before we get into it, this is only one part of running a successful digital business. If you look on screen here, this is what I think is the end-to-end version, and we're just going to focus on this part here on the left, which is content. So let's get straight into it. So I do this because I want to run a daddy-first business. That's what I'm all about. Here's me and my daughter. Here's a couple of pictures. Yes, I'm cheesy. Get used to it. If you're skeptical, I want you to close this video right now. I'll stop trying to change minds. I'll just show you the proof, then I'll give you the strategy. If you're interested, I want to show an invitation for how I can help you personally at the end. If not, all good as well. So let's get into the proof because there's a lot of liars on the internet. 500K in 7 months. That's a screenshot here. High ticket sales galore. This is in my Sam cart. 100K in 2 weeks. This is also a Sam's cart dashboard as well. 100K plus every month. So very fancy stuff. My story, so I had past businesses. I had an 8-figure e-commerce business with over 100 employees. That crashed, ended up in a call center inside a bank. Pretty exciting stuff. Then I went on social media. I suddenly became viral on Facebook with a bunch of different articles on a website called Addicted to Success. Then I transitioned over to Medium and I did stuff like what you can see on screen here. 24K from one article, hundreds of thousands of views. You get the picture. So the guru model is typically 1 million offers, all platforms, bunch of lead magnets. It's pretty damn exhausting, and I've tried that and absolutely hate it. So worst day in my life happened here. I had 7 hours of calls. I had a sick daughter, massive monthly payroll, big tax bill. I was trying to make up for writing that I'd missed out on, and I wanted to try and plan next month's promotions. It was a very dark day trying to do all that stuff. So I was able to pivot, recover, and thrive thanks to my ability to generate 10,000 plus new subscribers turn leads every month. Just digest that for a second. So here's how I continue to pull off big numbers, and I'll start with LinkedIn. So what doesn't work on LinkedIn? We don't want to name and shame anyone, but posts like this. Feeling stuck in your head? Too much going on? I'm opening a couple of spots for one-to-one reset sessions this month. DM me reset if you want in. What a crock of bullshit. It's basically just an ad. There's no ROI, there's no benefit, it's lame, and guess what? No one commented, no one was interested. That does not work on LinkedIn or any platform. So let's talk about what does work on LinkedIn. First off, we've got this post here. Experience is overrated. There, I said it. That's how it starts, from Rob Dance. So what he has here, if we look down, you can see he's got use of whiteboards here. Pretty unusual. There's not that many people doing that on any of these platforms, and it takes a hell of a lot of guts to stand there with a whiteboard. So that works really well. The first line just smacks me in the face. Experience is overrated. Perfect. Long sentences to short sentences. You can see here, long sentence, lots of short ones. Beautiful and easy to read, particularly on a phone. You can tell that the advice is followed by the arrows. So you've got like a little topic here, and then this is the advice and something you can directly use right away. So that's really cool. And you've got then enough length that LinkedIn's algorithm will actually pick it up. So if you just post a tiny bit of content, LinkedIn's algorithm looks at it and goes, well, there's no substance here, forget. This has got a lot of writing and it shows a lot of depth, so it's going to get picked up. Improvements I'd make at the end here, I wouldn't ask people to follow me. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Let's get to the next one here from Will. So he says, 2020 left a cushy finance job to start a business. So this is really cool. He has a personal image here that shows him working. Really interesting. But let's go a little bit further. The image is off center. See how it's like a little bit like that way? It's not perfectly centered. And if you look really closely, you'll see there's a really bad reflection in the window. So it's not a great photo. And some people would think that that's bad. But I think that's good because it stands out in a world of AI and in a world of perfect influencers. So that's what really works well. First line is a desire many people have on LinkedIn. So let's read it. Left a cushy finance job to start a business. Lots of people on LinkedIn are looking to do exactly that. So that works. I would argue it's probably the biggest desire on the platform. By using dates, it shows a moment in time. So you can see here 2020, 2022, 2023. So it just helps you kind of go through and see the transformation, which is really interesting. And it demonstrates a transformation, right? You can see from here all the way to the end, there's an actual transformation, and that just works on any platform. You can also see here that the second sentence is unexpected and vulnerable. Tested idea after idea, nothing stuck. Most people don't do that on LinkedIn. They pretend that they're perfect. So that works really well. And people on the platform always talking about wins, which is painful. Next, you can see perfect formatting with dot points and clear sections. Look at that. Beautiful clear section, lots of dot points, easy to read. Wow, right? Looks really, really nice. You've got actionable takeaways all the way through, which is kind of cool. And then at the end, he actually asks for engagement. He says, repost it so you're not alone. So that helps to make it go a little bit further. What improvements would I make? I wouldn't ask at the end for people to follow me. I don't think that's necessary. And I'd actually add more about how it felt. So there's a lot of statements here, but how did you feel the whole way through? I think if you added that human element in, this post would go even more viral. All right, so that's Will's post. Let's get to the next one here from Anisha. So what works in here? Well, let's have a look. We've got a picture here of a tweet with a reply, and it's printed out on a piece of paper. And that's not a format that you'll see, I don't think, anywhere on social media. It's very unusual. I thought it was super weird, and it stopped me scrolling. It's also actionable with a listicle. So you can see there's a little listicle here in the body of the content. Very actionable, very useful. So that's really cool. Improvements I'd make, the first sentence here is a little cliche. Put your head down and get to work. No shit, Sherlock. That's kind of obvious. So I'd probably change that. And I'd also add in some story here. There's not much depth here, and I think a little bit of story added in with this listicle, it would work much better. So that's that one. Now let's move on to X. So little known fact, you can make money directly from X. I made $2,200 on X in the last 7 days as an example, not to brag, but to show you that most people don't know that. So be wary of posts with high views and likes and almost no comments. The opportunity right now is there's not that many long form posts and particularly threads on this platform. So I would consider trying to do that. So these faceless accounts that I'm going to show you on screen here, one like this one here, they used to absolutely dominate Twitter/X, but just not anymore. They're also known nowadays as bot accounts, which is not cool. So typically an account like this, and again, not saying this person's doing it, but they get paid to engage with other people's posts and comment and repost. It's all very fake, and X as a platform is actually banning them every single day. So I wouldn't recommend doing one of these faceless accounts and engaging in all that bot activity. The problem with these faceless accounts is they have no authority and you can't validate their claims. And so basically what happens, we just ignore information that comes from these type of accounts, unfortunately. So let's get to what does work. We've got Bowtied Broke here is an account. And he put this little post here, car insurance for my teenage kids is insanely out of control. That's how it starts. So what works, he's calling out insanity about car insurance, which people can relate to and they'll respond to. So that really works well. Improvements I'd make, if I was this guy, I would use my real name. I'd add a real photo too. I don't know what this photo is here, but it's like some cartoon. I can't see anything. So I'd put a real photo. This Bowtied Broke, Bowtied Salesperson, Bowtied Investor, it's done to death on this platform. I wouldn't use a nickname like that. And the 1, 2, and 3 could be laid out as a listicle. So you can see here 1 teen, 2nd teen, 3rd teen. I'd probably format it a little bit like a listicle in the middle just to break things up and make it easier to read. All right, let's get to the next post. So this one comes from Rock History, which is an account. So if we look here, you can see last night Black Sabbath made history at their final show. That's the headline. Documenting a live event most can't attend is a really good strategy on social media. And so that's why this got 127,000 likes and 18 million views. So very clever. It saves time because I couldn't go to this event. So by reading this, I kind of get a snapshot. And so whenever you do that, it's just people find it valuable. And this person's also curating just the best moments from the event, which is another great strategy because it just saves people time and it adds a lot of value to their life. Improvements I'd make, I'd add more text to each of these posts. You can see each one doesn't have a lot of text. I think there's a real opportunity here to go much more in depth around what happened and use writing to do that. I'd add some of the rock band's best moments to the thread as well, not just the ones from that night, just to change things up. There's no call to action at the end here. So, okay, this person's done all this great work, but then they don't ask you to follow or join an email list or do anything. So it's kind of useless. It goes nowhere. And again, we've got a faceless account. And in a world of AI, this is, probably going to get ignored more and more. So I would change this to whoever the person is that's managing this account would be much more interesting. All right, let's get to another X post here. Today is my first as department chair at Berkeley EECS. So what works? It's a professional announcement and people love these. It's high status because of the institution name being Berkeley University. So that's really cool. It's concise and to the point. Often these posts can, be 1,000-word essays, and this person has done it in 4 sentences, which is really cool. There's no pandering or Oscar speech as well, so they're not like thanking everybody and being over the top. So that's kind of cool. Improvements I'd remove the tag here to Berkeley. I think it just looks cheesy, and EECS is an acronym most people don't know. So if I was rewriting this, I just put today as my first as department chair at Berkeley University, and that's how I'd kind of redo it. And I'd also put in this person is now the head of computer science. So that sounds a lot more fancy. And because X has a lot of tech people on it, I'd also put in the job title as well as another improvement. And finally, let's get to Substack Notes. So this is like a copycat version of Twitter/X, but on Substack. So let's once again talk about what doesn't work on the platform. You can see here we've got what I think is fake engagement on this Substack newsletter. So it's got 24,195 likes, 321 comments, and 6,000 reposts. It just looks fake to me. When I scroll to the bottom here, I could notice that all the comments sounded kind of generic and almost AI written. There's no like comment threads where like multiple people were chatting, which is a bit unusual. The author didn't reply to a single comment. That's weird. If you look at their Substack Notes page as well, you can tell that something's off there because every post is viral. So here's a screenshot I took. 3,100 likes, 6,600 likes, 9,400 likes. That was one after another. Like, it's just impossible to have that level of virality. And so I don't know who they think they're fooling, but it definitely didn't fool me. So that doesn't work on Substack or any of these platforms. Let's talk about what does work. Here's a post here that I got from Hani. I'm sitting in a coffee shop working, watching this very old guy holding a stranger's 1-month-old baby. Pretty cool. The whole way through this post is just stunning storytelling. Like, it's really, really nice. It's full of emotion as well, which is not easy to do, and most people refrain from doing that. It's great writing. There's like great descriptions all the way through of what's happening in this coffee shop. It's short, concise, and to the point. I've seen people tell these stories in very long essays, and this is done in essentially 3 paragraphs, which is really cool. And so the rate of revelation, as Nicholas Cole calls it, is just very fast, which is cool. It uses a swear word in the last paragraph here, hot, horrible horseshit, which just adds a bit of personality and a bit of attitude as well. Improvements I'd make, it'd be cool if the author had a photo of this coffee shop moment, and if they did, I would add that in to the post as well, just to bring it to life and make it more real, which is really cool. All right, let's get to the next one here. So, Adit says, the strangest way I test if someone truly loves me. That's the headline. This is a Substack newsletter. So the headline is bold. It's bold. It sounds like a personal experience. There's a huge curiosity gap here. Like, what? You can tell if someone truly loves me? How? Like, massive. She also says that it's a feeling and it's her theory, which suggests to me that it's an unknown idea, and that makes me want to click it even more. So that's really clever. She says it shares a cultural moment and adds an image. So if we scroll down here, there's a moment here from I think it's an Indian movie with Priyanka Chopra. And she actually has the image as well, which helps me kind of visualize it. So that's really cool because that's a cultural thing that was happening at that moment in time. They take a story and turn it into a framework known as the lamppost test. So they say, my version of the lamppost test does involve something quite as cinematic. So that's really cool as well, to take a story, whack it into a framework. Like, what the hell? That's clever. It also creates the I felt like that too moment all the way through this post. And that's always powerful and brings people in. This essay, as you can see, is quite short for a newsletter. So like really gets to the point fast. And that's always good. And I used to do that a lot on medium.com. And if you want to look up an essay I wrote, it's called The Power of Doing Only One Thing. And I use a similar technique to that. So improvements I'd make, I hate the lack of capital letters all the way through. Like every sentence just doesn't start with a capital. That annoys me and looks unprofessional. And I think people do this because they want to look the opposite of AI by doing that, but I don't think it's good. So I wouldn't do that personally. And let's get to the last one here. So, how to be smarter than you think you are. What works in this is it's a really great headline. It feels a bit like a paradox. There's a lot of curiosity again. It signals that there's a tangible outcome I'm going to get if I read this, and a lot of content doesn't have that, so that's really clever. It starts with a weird line about dead bodies. Here's a weird phrase I heard on a podcast recently. I think if I guessed how many dead bodies you've seen on the job, I would probably guess too low. Like, wow, what the hell has that got to do with being smarter? It's just instant, like, awesomeness. There's an amazing cover image as well that feels a bit like a mind illusion. Here's the image here. It's like Keanu Reeves in The Matrix, but it's a double frame there. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I can't quite tell. So that's really cool. That makes me want to click it as well. It's short, sharp, concise, and to the point once again. You can see it's not very long, and the rate of revelation is very fast. And it only has one big idea. It doesn't present 5,000 different ideas like a lot of essays do. It's just one big idea. And so people really like that. Improvements I'd make, I'd possibly add a few subheadings just to break up all these chunks of text. But other than that, it's really well done. All right, so now I want you to go and do likewise using these general principles for success on social media. I want you to post daily because the algorithms will penalize you for inconsistency. I want you to break down posts in your niche that are good and get good engagement and then templatize them. I want to have a group of 10 people on social media with 10K plus followers who uses a bit of inspiration for your content. I want you to read the room of each of the social media apps because it's very different and understand the subtle culture differences between each of them. I want you to write about topics that feel effortless to you because that's how it should be. And I want you to subtly relate your post back to your paid offer, assuming you have one. And if you don't, you should get one right away. And a reminder, this is only one piece of a digital business. The whole picture again looks like this: content, combos, offer doc, niche list newsletter, offer stack. So if you want the help with the rest, here's my invitation to you. I'm inviting you to join Fearless Moneymakers. The goals are additional 20K per month for you, 90% profit margins, 4 hours of work per day. If you have a business, this folds into your existing business, so you don't need to stop, making the cash that you're currently making. And if you don't have a business, it'll save you heaps of time and get you to your first 20K. So don't go it alone with trial and error. Save time, drop courses, and get personalized help. Here's a couple of recent wins. I'm not going to read through them. You can pause the video if you want to see them. Kind of exciting. So here's how you can join. Email me, tim@timdenning.com. Say, let's build on social media in the email, and then I'll see if you're a good fit and help you out either way.